There are two ways of learning, either in the low end or in the sweet spot or in the high end as well. One is your experiential learning. Learning comes as failures. You can learn from your fellow professionals. You learn from a project that is happening, another project happening in your company, discussions, exchange of knowledge, exchange of lessons learned, and a lot of other ways are there for you to learn. It's better to learn at the cost of somebody else's failure, is what I would say. So learning is very easy in low end and being at uh, the sweet spot. Now, structured learning, what I mean by is it is self learning, self spaced learning. A lot of online studies, lot of learning from different courses, doing different courses, doing those, learning about those which supplement and complement your work. I'll give you an example. I came across a student who said that, sir, I wanted to become a lawyer, and I, because of my parents' pressure, I got into uh, engineering. And he was about 8 years of experience in the industry. Then I said, learning should not stop. You want to become a lawyer, you can still become a lawyer. Who is stopping you from that? Have you heard about contract management? Have you heard about Indian contracts law? There is law which is related to your industry. Why didn't you study about it? Why don't you do a certification course about it? And he did, actually went to a prestigious university. He did a certification course on contracts law, and today he works in a large organization as a contracts manager. So you can still study those which you think that you could have done it, but you were not able to do it at the right time. This every time is right for structured learning, or self learning, as a part time or distance education, or regular education also. I know a lot of people who have left engineering. They've studied, and they've come back to engineering. I know a lot of NICMA students who have worked with me, who have done projects with me, who have been interns under me, who had about 4 or 5 years of experience. They went to NICMAR, did their PG, they came back, started working at a better position. So, so there are. I wanted to give you a sneak peek of different types of learning that happens, which helps you in your growth and your march towards being a project manager. Next is in learning itself. Engineering, just doing engineering is not enough. uh, you will have to deep dive in the area of subject that you like. It could be anything. There are a lot of people who wanted to do their MTech in structural engineering. They couldn't do it. They started working on the sites. I know a lot of I have pushed a lot of guys into knowing about various codes that are available for structural engineering. Structural engineering is not just designing. You know, I would tell like this: if there is one designer, you need 100 people around the site for making the design into a reality. So you are an important piece. You must not have done your masters, but you can master the subject. Just because you have not done master doesn't mean that you cannot master it. You can. So there are a lot of people who went into looking at the various codes which are responsible for developing a project. So you can technically enhance yourself. There was one person who was handling sewage treatment plants. So he was building a sewage treatment plant. He was responsible for building that sewage treatment plant. When I asked him, why did you choose this area of the whole such a large project to build, he said, I wanted to become an environmental engineer. I couldn't do my masters. So I said, when there is an STP, why shouldn't I get involved and do it? Then I said, look here, not just the building of an STP. Look at everything, all law, all compliances, and all that is required to different types of STPs available. What are the new innovations happening in environmental engineering? If you look at all these things, enhance your technical skill, you can gain the the position on the table when discussions happen. So you develop your technical skills and demand that position on the table in the sense you have your voice heard. So more you enhance your knowledge on technical, more you will be heard, people will start respecting you. Now next one is managerial skills. Everything that people are managing are not managing because of the technical skills. Technical skills are important to manage things. That is the foundation. Now when managerial skills are important because you need to learn a lot of soft skills, making a presentation, talking to people, doing networking, convincing people, negotiating. A lot of soft skills are involved in becoming a manager. So, in your low level positions where you're working, start learning as to what is required for me to become a project manager. It is not just the years of experience. You need certain amount of skills. Which one I have a slide which I'm going to take you through, but you need to learn those skills and become a manager. Then comes the leadership skill. After you become a manager, you will start becoming a leader. Now you have a technical skill, you have managerial skills, you become a leader. Leadership is not something as a position. It is not something you stand on the top of the hill and say that I am the leader, now you all guys follow me. No, it doesn't happen like that. By the way of your behavior, by the way of your nature, by the way of your the way you have developed yourself, you become a leader. It is not a leadership is not a position, it is something that you need to develop. It comes out of position also, I'm not denying that. Technical position, managerial position, and become a leadership position also. But you cannot become a leader without technical and managerial skills. There are a lot of people who have become a failure. Those people are ones who say that I am the leader, you follow me. Nobody follows them. So leadership skill is what next you will have to learn when you are in the sweet spot for you to go into the high end. Next, in all the three, biggest problem that we have in construction engineers and managers is people management skills. We don't know how to manage people. People management itself is a big art and science. So when you are in managerial level and leadership level, this is a continuous learning process. Each person that you interact with is different. One suit doesn't fit everybody. There's no one mechanism that will you can apply to everybody. So people management is a learning process which you will have to learn very, very cautiously, very rigorously, and continuously. So with all these six elements, you will be able to manage the project. Otherwise, you will not be able to manage the project. Now, we have seen a bit about project manager, what he needs to know, what he does, and how he what he has to uh, gain. There is something little more of gain very structurally here in this particular slide, project management. Now, when you become project manager, you have to manage a project using project management skills. Now, what is project management? Application of knowledge and skill. You have a knowledge, which I told you, technical skill, technical knowledge, managerial skill, leadership skill. You have to apply that and do the project management. Now, how do you do it? How do you apply knowledge and skill? There are some tools and techniques. Now you might ask me, what is this tool and technique? I'll give you a very easy example. Now everybody, most of us today own a vehicle, and it's very often, or you must have come across the tire deflates. Everybody of us know how to change a tire. We know how to change a tire, but have you done it? Can you physically do it? If I give you a spanner, will you be able to change a tire? Not many would be able to do it. Those who are first timers will definitely not be able to pass in the first attempt. So if you have to do it continuously and do it well, you need to have the tools and you need to have the technique. You cannot change the tire without a spanner, which is a tool. And if I give you a spanner and you don't know how to change a tire, that is the technique of it, then you cannot change a tire. So both are complementary to each other. You need a tool, you need a technique. If I give you a book, you know how to open it. Book is a tool. If you don't know how to read it and absorb and assimilate knowledge out of it, if you don't know the technique, that book with you is a waste. So tools and techniques are complementing to each other. So how do you apply knowledge and skill? You need to have every knowledge, every skill has got some tools and techniques. This project management is a very elaborate subject. Today I'm not going to take completely about tools and techniques, but I'll give you a little bit of sneak peek around it. Now, project management has got about 10 knowledge areas. These are the knowledge areas, what we call, with which you can do a project, do project management as a project manager. Scope, cost, time, procurement, resources, stakeholder, risk, communication, quality, and integration. Each of these knowledge areas has got tools and has got technique. And knowing all this makes a project manager complete, is what I say, for him to definitely handle a project and lead it from A to B successfully. This is a framework developed by Project Management Institute, and a lot of people have learned, studied, and got themselves certified. I'll give you a small example to understand how this works. Now, all of us have got apparels, have got dresses for us, have gone to a shop, bought a shirt for ourselves, or bought a pant for ourselves, or bought a sari for ourselves, right? You have done shopping, apparel shopping. Let's take that as an example and understand all these things. I'll take an example that I have 1,000 rupees in my pocket. Now I have to buy a shirt for myself. Now I try to see first, keeping that 1,000 rupees aside, what is it that I'm going to buy? Shirt? That's the scope. What type of shirt? Full sleeve, half sleeve. What color? I like blue. It could be white also. I don't mind taking a white. White with stripes, there could be a lot of options, right? Now, then what type of material? It could be cotton, mixed cotton, uh, silk, terracotta, terry wool, anything. Materials are plenty in even in shirt material, right? This is all what I am thinking. What to buy is comes under the scope. Now I look at 1,000 rupees. Will I get what I want in that 1,000 rupees? How do I? What if I save money? If I want something which is a cotton, white, half sleeve in 600 rupees, what will I do for that 400? Can I buy one more shirt? Can I bargain that 600 rupees shirt and take two of them in 1,000 rupees? That's the cost management. And where do I go and buy? Should I go and buy where I have different varieties or different brands available, or should I go to one shop, a branded shop, and go and buy? Should I go to a multiple large store? Should I go to a mall where I get variety? That's a procurement decision. Now, whom do I go with? Should I go alone? Should I take my friend along with me? Or should I take my mother? Should I take my brother? How do I go? Should I go by car? When do I go? Let's go on a festival time when there are a lot of discounts available. Or no, I have a marriage coming up. I can't wait for the discount. I can't wait for somebody to offer me a discount. Let me go now and bargain it there. These are all procurement decisions that I make. How do I go? How much spending I will have? Will that 1,000 rupees suffice? Should I go by bus? Should I take a cab? Should I go by an auto? Or if I going, four of us are going, can we fit into a bike? No, we have to make a cab. These are all procurement decisions. Now I go into a store. Let me say I go into a multi-branded store and I try to select what I want from the scope decision that I have made, and I pick up four or five shirts which fit in my scope, right? I'm still in the procurement stage. I'm not bought it. I'm still buying what my scope is. I try to take that shirt, four or five. Then look at the price tag. Then I see my budget. Then I remember I have a credit card. Now 1,000 rupees. Is there an offer going on in the shop? Is there a buy one get one free? If I buy, will I buy a shirt? Will I get a tie free? All these are procurement decision, marketing. I mean, bargaining and things like that. I'm still in procurement. I've not bought it, but I have touched up a little bit of resource as to whom I am going with, who is going to help me in buying it, who is going to, where am I buying it, which is the company which is going to sell me. All those decisions I have made as far as resources are concerned. I buy a shirt. I decide this is the shirt I'm going to buy. 800 rupees. I go to the counter, stand in the queue, wait for my turn. I give the money. I get a bill. I look at the bill. Is it correct? Has he charged me correctly? What is there at the back of the bill? You ask the person. I'll try again at home. In case I don't like it, if my mother doesn't like it, can I bring it back and exchange it? What is your exchange policy? How many days can I, within how many days can I come and exchange it? All procurement decisions, all related to contract. There is a rule and regulation for buying. So you're in the contract management. Right before these two, before going to the counter and before selection, there's one thing that I importantly missed. What is that? You all do it. You will ask the store, where is the trial room? You go into the trial room, close the door, wear it, look into yourself into the mirror. Are you looking good with this? If not, you do an exchange. You try another one. You buy what you like. You buy what fits good on you, or what fits rightly on you, right? Though it is part of a scope, what are you doing here? You're doing a quality check. You're doing a quality check. When you asked in the counter as to, can I exchange this after some time if I don't like it, or if I find a fault in it when I go back home, what do I do? Sir, we have an exchange policy. Within 7 days, you can give it back. We'll give you an exchange, right? Quality check. You have done a lot of communication. You have communicated within yourself. You have communicated with your people who went with you. Somebody helped you in selection. You have done a lot of communication in the store. People around you. There is a part, and you have managed the risk also. Should something go wrong, what do I do? You have done quality also. So see how you have done. Integration is more to do with change management. I'm not going to extend this example there. But in your life, you have been doing project management very beautifully for yourself. Now you have to explore and expand that onto the projects that you're working. Project management is not new to anybody. It is known, it is ingrained into you. It's only that you will have to explore and expand it to the person for whom you're working, right? So there are a lot of tools and techniques on that. Project Management Institute, as I said, talks about all these knowledge areas, gives you a lot of tools and techniques as to how do you manage project and be successful. I will slightly take you into projectmanagement.org is where you get into Project Management Institute and project management standards. There are certifications available. You can learn a lot of things. There are good books, papers. Some are free, some are not. You can get it from pmi.org. Then it is the biggest organization which is run by volunteers, all professionals. We have in India, we have 8 centers, 8 chapters, what we call it, and we have 300 chapters across the world. It is 50-year-old organization, and there are membership available for students as well as working professionals. You can go to pmi.org/membership to know what are available, what are things available, what are the benefits available. I've listed few of them here. There's a book called as PMBOK, PMBOK, Project Management Book of Knowledge. That is where these tools and techniques and knowledge areas have been very well described. So after you have applied this in the project, have you learned about it, you can become a project management professional. You can get yourself certified. This is the Bangalore chapter. We have been in existence since about 22 years. 20 years, and we do a lot of programs on knowledge sharing and learning. PMP Quest is something where we train people to become professionally certified project manager. And we have at the bottom, you will see ENC forum. We have engineering and construction forum. This Bangalore PMI is not just for construction. A lot of professionals from different industries are part of this community. We have software engineers, we have chemical engineers, we have mechanical engineers, we have a lot of people from defense. Our BL itself has got about 500 certified professionals on project management. This BL Bangalore has got 500 trained professionals in project management. And we have a lot of defense, I said, ISRO, and a lot of government agencies who are part of the chapter. And basically, it is only for the PMI exists only for two reasons. One is knowledge sharing and learning, nothing else. So if you go to pmibangalorechapter.in, you will get a lot of details about what Bangalore chapter does, where I am part of Engineering and Construction Forum. And with that, I come to the next where we can talk about conversations. I'm sure that a lot of people have got questions